What's he saying? Good morning, everyone. So, I hope everyone's having a beautiful morning. And I'm going to turn this down just a tiny bit. Hi. So, I got to tell you, excuse me, when I put this necklace on, it smells like formaldehyde. And I'm like, every time I put it on, it smells like that. And I was reading that something called Bakelite smells like that. So that's what this might be. This is adorable. I just love it. You know why? Because it's so vintage looking. It's just so and the blouse I have on, guys, this is vintage. And so I'm kind of all vintage today. I didn't wear my turtle earrings today because they're starting to feel heavy, and they are heavy, starting to feel heavy on my earlobes. So you can see behind me my flowers. These are the petunias here. And I put them next to the finches, where I have a teeny tiny little table that I'm set up on to work on today. So this is where we're working. And you can hear my birds in the background chirping, and and maybe a little music there. But if you're new to the channel, we create with our recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies, and it's our way to give the earth a little hug. A number of years ago, I started to share the work that I do, and I love historical cultural arts. And as I shared these different projects, people asked me so many questions. I went ahead and wrote a book, and now I have no questions. Now no one's asking any questions. The book is out there. It's called Reviving Earth with Historical Cultural Arts. And I say reviving Earth because we're using scrap fabrics to revive Earth. And you know what's in, guys, as we get into all different types of projects, including reselling jewelry, reselling used items, things that are back in are the handmade quilts. Now this year, I am focusing heavily as we go forth on our projects. Good morning, hi, as you're joining. Hi, Victor, hi, guys. Thank you for joining, guys. But as we go forward, we're going to be doing focusing completely on quilts you can make by hand. A lot of them I incorporate my own little methods, like I have done with this project right here. The beautiful, I just kind of pulled it off the chair, guys. It's kind of like magic, but the beautiful shawl that I made out of two vintage scarves. These are both vintage scarves, and this one has the butterflies, but I needed two scarves to make sure it was substantial enough to hold the yo-yos. So we're going to be doing more projects like that, but I incorporated the tie knot, which I use a lot to secure the yo-yos. And we're going to be doing kind of being inspired by the Manx quilting. We're going to be using some of the Manx quilting methods, but not, and I will show you traditionally the Manx quilting, how they use their hand as a measure, and just start from the center out. And I think a lot of people, they're like, well, why don't you do Kawandi from the center out? But Kawandi, the historical cultural art of Kawandi, guys, They've started, hundreds, if not thousands. There's some evidence it could go into 800-900 years ago. But they started from the outside. Okay, they go from the outside in. Okay, so I have open studio today. This is what I'm doing. I'm bringing you with me. I want to show you something as I work. I'm just going to have the camera a little bit on the birds and a little bit on me. And then I have an article I want to share with you on creative wellness, on the wellness of the creative or on the artist. And it's some very enlightening points that this article brings out that I really want to share with you. But first, we're just going to do a few minutes because I want to finish up this square. But I want to show you this, the ones that I just did some sewing. And I have more stitching to do for Sashiko stitching. But I just love these, guys. I love, love, love these. These could just be pieces of art, like you could frame. That is what a lot of people are doing. Guys, they're not even stitching. I've seen out there, and I have this aversion to glue. I don't know why. I have to use it sometimes in little dabs here and there to just reinforce security of some of my own projects. But I don't like flab it on, you know what I mean? And use it. Some people are out there taking fabrics and just glue, 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 glue onto canvas. People are spending lots of money for that, putting it up on their wall. It is definitely a venue of its own, guys. Thank you for having a cup of coffee with me today. So these are the ones that, I'll just hold a few of them up so you can see. Aren't they just gorgeous? I just can't. These are all jean seams. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to be doing something larger with that. And if someone asks me to do a project or something on those, I would do it. That is one I would say yes to, because I feel like if you are environmentally friendly business, maybe somebody walks through your door, or even if you're a hotel and you have a beautiful wall piece of all these jean seams with visible stitching, and say on it, next to it in a frame, inspired by, the artist was inspired by Boro Sashiko, the Japanese method of patchwork that was primarily used and heavily used from the 1400s to the 1800s out of sheer necessity of surviving and staying warm. That was a huge motivating factor, okay? And then love and kindness for each other, just because they love each other and want each other to be warm. And they had no means to get the winter coats like the wealthy people were getting. And that's why you can get into the politics easily about the wealth, while you have so many people so extremely poor. And then people say, well, those people should be know how to do it. Not everybody knows, guys, how, or can even get out of the cycle of poverty when they're born into it, or even have the health. Lots of times poverty in is correlated to health issues of a lifetime. We have to remember that. As a society, I believe we are here to help each other. And this is just a small way in the way of helping our earth stay healthy. Just doing these boards. I seriously just love the texture of these, and very simple. You can see I didn't even overstitch. There's something called overstitching, where you'd see lots and lots and lots of stitches, okay, or the stitches going every other way. I just did minimal. I did a couple here, a row there, a couple row there. I plan to do more, yes. But what a lovely morning it is today. Let me tell you how Umi and Mashuki and I started our morning. Um, of course, I always start the morning with taking their little blanket off and saying good morning to Umi and Mashuki. And then they get a thorough cleaning of their cage, okay? And then they get their food, and they have to have a variety of people food, so they get that, and they get their molting vitamin every day. So we'll talk more about that over on Vermont Sun and Shade. But they are just a delight. So it's like gonna be like 78 degrees today, so it's already warm, but that's not like hot. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. So over on Whatnot, I notice a few things. I go to different channels and people are selling things very cheap, very, very cheap, like $5 for this and that. So, my idea of, hey, this is a part-time job, I'm out there scouting, I'm taking my time picking out things. I don't want to just pick out anything. And I definitely do not want to overspend, but I want to pick out things that are intact. So when we resell it, it can be worn, or the collector has a nice piece of vintage jewelry now in their collection. So I'm kind of holding to kind of what I'm doing. And Macari isn't really a marketplace for that. And when you start getting into multiple platforms, as I have my things out in multiple places, and by the way, I am going to downsize and kind of reassess some of the things I'm doing. So I have some things out there in stores. I'm gonna downsize and just kind of stay with a couple of stores, and then maybe add some later on. But I'm going to add art and craft fairs and flea markets. I want to get to places where now I can have my art, but I can also have resell. So I would love to do that. Okay, so we're almost done with this. Okay, and this resembles more of a cantha style stitch. Cantha means the cantha is the method where the multiple, let's say, sarongs that they're, or it doesn't even have to be that. It could be, if you're at a thrift shop here in America, you're looking for shawls. Okay, so maybe you find like these silky style shawls. So, and they're big. They're very big, guys. They're like 5 by 5. Some of these 5 by 4. They're like a small blanket. You sew them all together and using the visible stitch like that. It's a larger stitch spread apart a little bit. That's referenced as a cantha stitch. What you saying, huh? Do you want to see the birds, guys? If I can keep, maybe turn this a little like that so I can keep working here. So I'm going to finish this and then we'll get into that article. And I just want to sew this a little bit more here. And when you have pieces like this with the zipper, see that? and you want to skip over that, just do that in the back, okay? Or like a piece like this, you see that? What I'm going to do, there's a couple things you can do. The zipper you can skip in the back, or you can actually put a stitch over it, yes. For this, I have to work in the top layer. So let me show you that in a moment. Here, I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. I hope you guys are enjoying the summer and being able to sit outside and work on your work. I used to be outside all day long when I had my house working on artwork. The days I worked on artwork, the whole day was out on the porch. And I can't do that in an apartment style. I just can't. You can't. And so it's different and life changes, doesn't it, guys? But you know what doesn't change is the joy in your heart of how you're just enjoying your work. So these two stitches I just did in the top layer. And you can see here there's no stitches here. Okay, so now you're going to see where the stitch comes in again. Now I'm going to go through. And you don't have to go through all the way. The reason I do is I really do want these to adhere. So let me show you. I want them to be very, very secure. They will, so look, if you do just the parameter of whatever you're putting on your piece, it will be secure, yes. But if you're going to just work with, so let me show you here. You see the stitch right there, and you can see here I skipped because those stitches are just on the top layers adhering these two pieces. So why did I do that? Because the seams were just too thick for me to go all the way through. So yeah, so I love being here on my open studio. I almost was going to go to our sister channel Instagram. Now I want to also pick a different location later this week. I have to talk to the store owner and just see if I can get in a different location to work. Whoops, I'm gonna have to pull this. When you start running out of the tail, you know, maybe pull it back, because you want enough of the tail to be able to go through. Let's say, I'm gonna show you here. Because you just want to be able to go back and weave the tail. See these little areas here? I'm going to show you something. I'm putting the stitch in the top layer, actually, of this jean piece. Okay, I'm just going to show you. See? That's a very intricate way to stitch in a top layer. I don't do that because it's just easier for me in my eyesight. And you can do it by feel, absolutely. But now I'm coming through this one. See how I go through the one I stitched also. Because I want the tail to be secure. I don't want it to be working its way out and around. So now I got that tail, and I'm just going to kind of loop it like this. See, I'm making a knot. You see? That's like a Japanese knot. They kind of do like that. But any knot that you make, as long as it's just a nice little bit of a loose knot, don't make it too tight to the backing. Okay. So I have a couple more stitches to put here, so I want to do that. And then I'm going to pin my panels. No, we're not. I'm going to show you. This is open studio, so I might just sit here and work for a few minutes. Do you think I can work and not talk for a minute or two? Hey, sweethearts. What you Nomi. Okay, so I want to finish this, and then we're going to take the crown of the hat, and I'm going to show you the easiest way to just make the stitches going around into the center. We're going to do it together. Okay? And we're going to do that. So right now, I want to finish this panel. And I almost wonder if I should just put this down a little. Is that easier for you guys? So you can see. I have my coffee here. I may have to make another coffee, guys. I don't know. But now you can't see the birds. But okay, we'll do this anyway, like this. So now you can start in the back, or you can start in between. Okay, I'm just going to start in between there. Okay, now when you go through these seams, which you can, these aren't too bad. But when you get to the corner of a seam and you've got one with 3 layers and then join to another seam with 3 layers, that's 6 layers. You're probably not going to get through it easily. You can work your way through it. I've done it, but sometimes I do a lot of this. I just kind of find the spot where the layering has let off a little bit and then put the needle through. So I'll show you. So this is when you do stitching like this, it definitely will put your needle on an angle, and that's kind of where you get the crooked stitching. So you want to pull that, make sure it's nice and tight, but that's okay. That's part of the Sashiko signature of the 1400s anyway. So now you can see I just went through right after the thick part of that seam. I'm going through. Okay, that's what I'm doing. And then I'm coming up on the edge of it here. See, I'm coming up on the edge. Because guess what? Now I'm dealing with 6 layers. There's 6 layers there. So I'm just going to kind of turn my piece towards me now. And you want it turned towards you guys. These would look also very lovely as a kawandi, using the method of kawandi. So we're using Boro Sashiko today, and I can't get enough of this. I just seriously love, love, love the Boro Sashiko method. And even with the just, the monotone of just all the jean. Now I am going to scoot down here. You see what I did? Maybe you expected me to continue this way, but I have a plan. I want to come down here for a moment. I'm going to come down. And because it's still a little too thick, guys, I really cannot gather and do my typical 2 and 3 stitches right now, but that's okay. So I'm just going down here. Okay, now I want to come across here. We'll make a little cross. I want to do a little cross, you see. I'm going to put it down because I want to make this nice and snug. I love, love, love this right now. So I'm going to come up. I don't know. I'm not necessarily laying out a design. I'm just kind of saying as I talk to you which way and what I want to do. So coming up here, I'm going to go across. Now I'm going to go off of the design, which is totally fine, guys. You can go off of the design. That's a very intricate part of Boro. Why? because when you do that, you're reinforcing the fabric itself. So watch. We're reinforcing this fabric itself. Watch. When I come over like this, I'll show you in a moment here. And I'm going to just stitch across. It's just reinforcing. I'm adding stitches, you see? Look, I'm adding stitches to the already layered and woven cotton denim piece. Excuse me. I may have to make a coffee before we get started on that article. So now, and I'm going to put the camera up because now, look, I can hold it up because I got through the intricate, difficult parts, I want to say. And I'm just going to do my little sashiko stitching. You see? You see how I gathered 3 or 4 little stitches and then I just give it a nice little tug. I lay it down and I like to make sure it's secure. I am going to right now do a back stitch. I'm doing a back stitch because look, I want to reinforce this little seam area to the base, okay? I just want to reinforce it and lock it in. Okay, now I'm turning this towards me because I'm going to come up and I want to do sashiko stitching this way. So you want to turn the piece towards you because now I get some crosses. So let me show you as we go down. There's some multiple layers here like this. I want to reinforce some of these. I'm doing a little bit of overstitching, which is totally fine. Okay, so I'll show you this in a moment. Is this hurting my fingers? No, guys, it is not. If you have any questions, let me know, guys. I love to answer your questions. And I love to be able to have everyone included in, in being able to work. Because this type of work, like all members of the family in Japan in the 1400s, from the young to the very, very older, they could do it because it wasn't, they weren't looking for perfection and following a pattern. They were looking for what's in your heart to mend this patch, to make a patch, to sew up the rip that your fisherman father or brother got that day. It didn't have to be perfect. It wasn't perfect, but that was the beauty in it. I'm not saying perfect isn't beautiful, but it's it's a number of steps away from a manufactured, crisp look. And it's a completely different vibe. So it's not right or wrong on any of them. But I just love the humbleness of the Boro method. The humbleness, I guess, is a good way to say. So, and I've had people look straight in the eye and like, they don't even want to know about it. They do not. And this is a cultural art, guys. It's a cultural art. It's history. It's just history. I love it. So, okay, so with that, now so kind of just going up and down will naturally start giving you these little crosses like that. Okay, that you're gonna see like that. So with these pieces, that's kind of what I plan to do. So now we have all of these. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down on them for a minute so you can study them while I'm just gonna get my second morning coffee here. And I'm going to put the camera down. You can study these for a few minutes. And then when I come back, what we're going to do is we're going to do the circle stitching of Sashiko stitching in the hat that we're making. These are all part of a hat, guys, so you can study the designs, and they are just absolutely, I'm beside myself. Seriously, love, 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 love these designs. And maybe I can make some fabric jewelry, actually, like a little pendant or something. I'm thinking that right now of the Om. This kind of reminds me almost of the Om. I didn't do that on purpose. So I'm going to leave that there for a moment and get my coffee. And then we'll do the stitching. This is open studio, guys. And then we'll get into the article. So take me a few minutes to do this. Yeah, you hear your music there, man, Michelle? Okay, so we're going to get our coffee. And also, I want to show you the fabrics, guys, that I'm going to use for the yo-yos. So while you're looking at those pieces, just seeing how I laid them out, and I'll go get those pieces of fabric, if I can find them right now. Oh, no, wait, I got two. It's here. I don't know if that's going to... Okay. Put this light on for a second. Okay. Okay, guys, almost there. Here we go. Okay, now quicker way for the coffee would be to have a coffee pot all set. However, okay guys, so I am going to go get the fabrics now. I'll put the video up on the birds so you can see Umi and Mashuki. For those of you who love birds, if you have a pet bird, they're highly inspirational for you. They're just precious. So let me get the fabrics that I'm gonna be using next in the next project, and then we'll do our stitching. You know what, guys? I'm gonna bring you with me. I'm gonna bring you with me to the bin. So my coffee didn't come out as good as I wanted it to. We're gonna leave it. That happens sometimes. Anyway, okay. Let's so I'm just gonna put the bin. This is the back room, guys, where I have all of my art. Look, like I moved all of these back here. It's just easier to have the artwork in one room. Trying to have it in one room and work in it has been difficult. So I found this. This is something I bought and I thought I was going to wear. Now, I don't believe it's high-end at all. It's okay, Old Navy. I mean, it is a pretty good. Maybe I'll use this, maybe I won't, but this is the type of material that I'm loving for the next project for the fabric yo-yos. This is a pillowcase that is that same type of material. Now, I might use it for that, or I may use this for a bag and then put some yo-yos on that. So we're going to make some bags out of the pillowcases. Here's some previous yo-yos that I've made, guys, right here in my bin. Okay, look, right here, and those are cotton. Those are gorgeous. Okay, so let's see here. This is a thicker. So some of you are probably saying, well, Carmella, why don't you sit down and finish one because when I do open studio, like when I do this is how I do. I'm like in the just take a break from creating one project and move to the next because there's so many different types of things that I do. But so this is a thicker but still yet silky and synthetic and polyester type of. This is not 100% cotton. It's got rayon in it. This would be a really nice one to use for fabric yo-yos, guys. And then this type of green right here. This is another, the green, because I want to stay with the garden bloom idea, and because I love it. I love it even in the winter. I just love it. But you can see this green already right next to these. Okay, so these are all cotton, but these are not the in the previous project. So I'm looking for like this, yeah, this and this. But this I bought this specifically for the bags because we're gonna make more bags. And this I'm loving because is this the one with the? I thought it had a zipper, maybe not. Okay, but I love this. It's a silky silk, but this would make a perfect liner for the inside of our jean bags. So, but this would also, like if I cut this, which I would because look how long it is, I can use part of that. So I'm going to keep that in a pile for the fabric yo-yos. This is stunning. This is a magenta. And people say, "Oh, Carmela, you're supposed to say magenta." But in an Italian household I grew up in, it's magenta. Tomato, tomato. How to say it. So guys, look, this is also a silky silk. Okay. It's a silky silk material. This is gorgeous for fabric yo-yos. So you can see right here the theme already. Do you see it? The pink and the purple. This with the splash of the black. This just, yeah, I can't even stand it. This is gorgeous just right here. I don't know if I have, let me just look. I'm looking through here. If this piece I've shown you before, like I really, really, really want to use this piece for something, but because it's such a stunning yellow, I would like to have the yellow be able to showcase as part of the art. So we'll see on this what we're going to do. I could put a very delicate kind of flower on this, maybe some leaves, maybe just make a centerpiece of a flower with some leaves or a butterfly, something, not embroidery, but sashiko stitching. And so with that, let's see here. This is kind of a silky silk. It's been here a while and I'm getting ready to donate it. Maybe I do use it, but look, this this is got a lot of rayon in it. A lot of not viscose. Yeah, it's definitely. Hang on, let's see what is in here. I want to say, oh, the tag is off. Okay, so yeah, it's got the elastic in there. Um, but the color, you see how mundane it is? This won't, this may actually, look, this wouldn't even pop on a yellow. This would actually take away from the purple and the pink and the gorgeous color. It would take away. I don't even know what this would be used for. Not sure at this point. So, okay, so we've got those. Those are some of the fabrics that we're going to be using for the yo-yo. So we're going to go back, and now we're going to do some stitching. I don't know. I could try the coffee. I don't think it's very good, though. Let me put you back down over here, guys, watching the birds for a moment. Okay? And while we're working here, let's see. Got some of the grounds in there. That's the problem. Oh, we'll do this. Yeah, that may be just fine. Yeah, Mama's trying to get a cup of coffee. It's quite a little bit of a chore this morning. I may have to just go buy a cup in about 2 minutes. There's a lot of grounds in this came through. Yeah, a lot of grounds. Okay, I think that's good enough. We'll figure that out after. I've got a teeny bit of cup of coffee, that's all we need. What do you think about that? My sugar. Oh my god, I wonder what this tastes like. Let's try it, guys. It's not bad. Wow. That's surprising. So just gonna heat it up and then we can continue. So I don't know about you guys, but when you don't use the pods and you're using um, the little cups they give you to put grounds in, sometimes they'll swell up and they come through in your coffee. So that's kind of what happened to me. Now I'm going to share with you something else. It's my little open studio, what I like to have. Two things I like to have as a snack is these crackers, which are not highly nutritional, but guess what, guys? They only cost $1.99. You get like 8 packs. These are good. They're little peanut butter crackers. The other thing is the raisin bread with cream cheese. Excellent morning snack, guys. Excellent. Okay. So with that, now, let's see here. Okay. So something I want to do, I guess that's going to stay for the birds there. Something I want to do is cut out the diameters today for the yo-yo. So that's going to be a video by itself, because then I'm going to show you again how to make yo-yos for those of you who do not know. Now we have a few videos on here of that already. Okay, so let's get ready to do our stitching of the hat. And I'm just going to stay with the white or the cream color for now. And I'm just going to take the crown off of the model head. I'll show you here in a moment. And I'm going to show you guys a super easy way to make the circle. And I'm probably disagreeing with some people out there how to do it. I am sure. I'm sure that I am, because this is how I do it. I guess, you know, one of the messages I like to get to people on this channel is that what I'm sharing with you is just the creative methods that I use. It's my creativity that I'm sharing on how I'm creating. It's not like that's the way you have to do it. I've had people, a number of people over the years, they're like, Carmella, you need to tell me exactly what you're doing. And it puts me in a spot almost, because I'm like, I can share in general, but because I'm very spontaneous and very creating on the inspiration of maybe my emotions, my thinking, my feeling, my thoughts, my just in general something, energy. It's usually energy. I can't put it in a book, guys. But what I could put in a book is the idea of working on your energy. Okay. So this is the top. Some people say start in the middle, and some people say use a grid. So I don't do either of those things. Now, I am not adding my panels yet, okay? I'm just starting on the outside, leaving a little bit of a margin. And this is what I'm doing. I'm just following, excuse me, the circle as it is right in front of my eyes on the hat. Excuse me, I have to have my coffee. Thank you for being with me today, guys. What a beautiful day. Isn't it just gorgeous? So if you are out there and you want to make a circle of your sashiko stitching, okay, so you're gathering it, holding it in your hand, and working like that. Put it down and kind of make those a little snug as you go through. And just follow Now I'm not right on the edge, and the reason I'm not is because this crown still needs to be sewn to the panels. Still needs to be sewn to the panels, guys. So because of that, and I'm making sure I check my tail, okay, and I'm every other on my stitches, like 3 or 4 stitches, I'm sorry, as I stitch 3 and 4 in a row, I stop and I make them nice and snug. What you saying on me? Hi, Mushoke. You're seeing yourself in the video. Now that might disturb them a little bit, and so if it does, I'm just gonna kind of turn this. I'll turn it, and that way he has a chance to get out of the. They have ultraviolet vision. They have exquisitely good vision. So it might bother him to see his movement constantly. And so I took it off of him a little bit. Okay. So I'm just going around, and for the fact that I have a circle, I really believe starting on the outside of the circle and using that parameter is just a super duper easy way to make your stitches going around. Now, if you want to draw a circle within the circle or a number of them, do that, because maybe that is easier for you. Because you're going to see when we start the next row, all of a sudden it goes fast. This is like why Kawandi in itself goes fast, because when you start on the outside, and I say fast with my method, not fast necessarily with the Kawandi women, the city women of India, that they're fast because it takes them a year easily to create the quilt, to make the quilt. Okay, so I'm going to show you this in a moment. And we're almost done already. Now the other thing you could do, you see, kind of looks like a little horseshoe. You can stop right there, and then you can take a different color thread and start in the middle and kind of go this way. You can do a lot of different designs without using the stencils and things like that, just by using the shape of the piece that you have, and or the design. Maybe there's a plaid design, you know. So now the pocket I have here is, now I'm going through 2 layers. Okay, so it gets, I could just stay in the top layer and let there be a little pocket, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue sewing this together. It just, that part of it is a little thicker. That's okay. That's not going to hurt anything. It leaves the integrity of part of the pocket there, so it's just a kind of nice little design. So now I'm running out of my thread, so because I do have a little pocket thing going on, and this particular one, I'm not leaving it a pocket, but I'm going to make my knot on the inside and then tuck it in and then get more thread and continue my stitching. Okay, continue my stitching. Now what I do by pulling this up, pulling the needle up like that, I have a knot on the inside, so I'm just going to clip that and just let it recede in, and then it disappears. Now what happens too is the tails that are underneath or inside or under the piece, they get caught up or knotted in with your next set of stitches. And that is a very Japanese way also, is as a matter of fact, because it is such an intricate part of the sashiko stitching, you will see tails that just are not knotted. They're not knotted because they're caught up all in the amongst themselves and in the piece itself. They're not going anywhere. We traditionally in America were used to putting the knots in. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to start right before the stitch here. See? I'm starting there. That's just like a little reinforcement, or I could do a back stitch too. So there's the tail sticking out. I want to tuck it in. There, and now I can continue. Hi, angels. How are you? And then, yeah, we'll cover that article. So, for those of you who aren't, like, in, it's just open studio. I'm just kind of with you, keeping you company and you keeping me company when there's someone out there. If you have any questions, I'm here. So that's kind of what I like to do. And see, I almost went over to the river to the park to do this, but I didn't do that because I have a number of projects right now I need to be able to get my hands on and work on. If I was going to work on one project, I would have went right over there. Now right here, I have a seam. You see it? This is doubled up, and then it's on the base, and it's very thick. So I'm just going to bring that stitch through and just go over it, and then continue my circle. Now you're going to notice with the circle, there may be spacing, like as you finish it, that you want to go through and sew through another circle. And you can do that. It's totally fine. And you can do back stitches every now and then. Now if you do too many of these in a row of your sashiko stitching, it could end up being a straight line. So you want to, I do like just, excuse me, like 3 or 4 in a row, and then look at it and make sure I'm staying with the curvature. And because you are going in a circle, chances are you are. However, because you are sewing, it's easy to go in a straight line. What you saying? So I think we're going to get some rain today, guys. Here, too. And I'll tell you what, in the morning, when it's sunny, I open up all the shades, all the curtains, everything, because I want to get that sun as much as possible in on the birds. And yes, for myself, but then it goes away in several hours, it's gone. So, up on the other side of the house or moving up towards the noon position, and then you lose it. Look how adorable that's looking. It's just freehand, it's totally fine. I mean, it's like, just use your parameter. The only thing is I'm not enjoying, and this is part of the learning when you do creativity. So I'm going to do a back stitch here. I am on the pocket. I'm not enjoying the pocket. And I've said this before, the only reason I'm using this up is because I went ahead and cut some pieces with the pockets on there to, you know, to use the pieces. I'm not liking the pockets, and I'm not going to use these again for the crown because for me, it it's kind of getting in the way of the flow of my stitching, which I'm not enjoying. So this, I'm just going to tie that one right here, because that's at the end of the tail here. Okay, now the other, let me get my teeny tiny little crochet hook. The other thing I want to do is we have to do some more granny square projects. Okay, let's see. And we're going to finish the wonky houses. That's another project. So, you know, this channel is just chock full of projects, but the thing is, they're all earth friendly. You know what I mean? We're working with our recycled fabrics. We're making adorable little things. And, okay, so now, you know, I feel like I want to switch out the color. So let me use a light blue. I'm going to go ahead and use a light blue. I'm going to move my coffee because I've had enough now. Now I'm good with the coffee. All right. This isn't very long, but you want to not have them super long, because when you do that with your, this is a shorter needle. Actually, I always get myself pretty good with those. Let's see here. I want to use, this is a not Sashiko. The Sashiko needles are extremely sharp, so I do have some in here, yes, but I'm not using them right now. I could, because the lacy crochet thread does fit in the eye of a Sashiko needle. It's totally fine. You could do that. Okay. So, what you saying, Mashuke? That's Mashuke. Now, Omi is up in the nest. Okay, guys, she's in the nest. All right. So I left off here, right in the edge of the pocket, and I'm just going to, I'd kind of like to start on that same stitch, go over it, and then continue like that. So yes, with the pockets, you have a little bit of the thickness, because, and then you'll have you'll have the thickness because of the two layers of fabric, but then you'll have thickness because of the seam of the pocket. So that could very well put you off too. Now I'm noticing a little spacing here, which is totally fine, but I may want to come up later and put another circle between those. So I'm going to put the camera down so you can see. Hi, how are you? How are you? I'm going to put the camera down so you can see, guys, me stitching this. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try to see. I'm just going to kind of lean this on here for a few minutes. And let me know what projects you're working on, guys. Listening to the artists the other day at our art reception, which I just totally enjoy those so much. And especially, I just love to I don't even have to have a long conversation, just a little bit, talking just a little bit. Someone's just, you know, I hate to say it like this, but you know you're alive when you've communicated with other people. Guys, I'm not even kidding. Let me put this up here. Because you can get so within your art and you're just working and you're writing, and before you know it, the day is over and you haven't connected, you know, you're kind of talking to your finches or your cat or your dog, which is totally, I mean, when I had Sophia, it was totally, she was, oh, my everything, you know what I mean? I love, love, love that dog. So, but what I'm saying is it is important to get out to communicate. Especially in our age group, not everybody has their family around them. I grew up with lots and lots of family around me, and I truly, honest to God, miss that beyond belief. However, things change, and it's important today to remember that we're here to help each other and not to be selfish about what I want, what I had, what could be. Look at where we are right now. And yes, make it better if you can. Okay, so see here. But part of your artistic wellness is connecting, I believe, with others. I believe it's important. Others who want the best for you. Don't put yourself in a situation repeatedly just to have company if someone's not kind, you know what I mean? So now I'm doing a back stitch. You see, I'm doing a back stitch to kind of lock it, reinforce it a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going forward. I love this. You know what? I love this hat. This hat is going to be... Now, the other thing I just want to tell you my idea with these panels. Hold on, because I'm going to go back. I'm going to lock this. Now, be careful when you're stitching. There's a couple things you're going to look for. See the ripples? Totally normal. Totally part of sashiko stitching. Whether you're quilting, whether you're making a hat, whatever. Hi, Miranda. Hey, hey. Miranda. So, that is another artiste in our feed here. So, this is the thing. The ripples are normal, so don't try to get them out. However, don't pull it so much that you have a bunch of gathers, because then you're going to be really off. You know what I mean? This is the crown of a hat, and these are right here. These are the panels. Look how awesome these are. These are going to be these are going to make up the hat. Check these out. We did all of these between last night and today. You see the zipper? And we're going to make wall pieces. So Miranda, you could take jeans, take the seams, do your sashiko stitching. You can make wall pieces. You can make table mats. You can make jewelry. I'm thinking maybe to make a little pendants. I mean, this is going to be an awesome hat. So these panels will be going onto the hat. Maybe we put them horizontal like that, or maybe we put them like that. So when we do that part of it, yeah, right? Yeah. Just on scrap fabrics, you know? And so what I did here, we started with the beige, and now we've gone, I don't know, you can't seem to see it, but this is blue. So I'm going to continue with the blue. And this is our open studio. So what does that mean? It means we have no agenda. Winging it. We're just kind of doing what we're doing. And just I'm bringing you with me and showing you how I parallel like all of my projects. And later today, guys, we're going to have a live show on the Whatnot. And what I don't know, you know, I'm just playing around with that, seriously hoping that we get some good luck like we did years ago on Macari, which some of you did amazingly well on Macari, if we remember that. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So this, what you do, so I'm starting here, I just want to show you. See how I'm starting, you see where the needle, if you can see it, here we are. See where I'm starting on that stitch? So I'm starting on that stitch, and I'm going to do just like the sewing machine. I'm going to do a couple of visible stitches right now. 1, 2, and then I'm going to do a back stitch. Okay, I'm going backwards now. I want to snug those a little bit there, get them snug. Do a back stitch. Just, it locks it in, reinforces it, makes it, you know, much harder. If for some reason someone's being really rough with their hat, their stitches are just a little bit more secure. Now, sometimes, so you just start with the outside of your circle of the crown of your hat and work towards the inside, because I've done this, I've done the inside out, do not like it. It's very difficult to keep my, now some people it might be easier for them, but for me, I don't like it. I like working on the outside in when doing sashiko stitching in a circle. So now we're at the seam again. Now you're going to notice more of the ripples. See the ripples? That's totally normal. That's a signature of sashiko stitching of no matter what you make. Especially the more stitching you do, like the overstitching, you are going to get ripples. So this is how I did over the seam. Right here, just went over the seam. It's totally fine. It's a little more challenging going through the seam and then the pocket area because you have more fabrics that you're working with. So this is, and I just give it a little snug, but you can see how quickly we're filling that up. And so as soon as we're done with this, then we'll go over the article of wellness for the creative, because it's super important to take care of yourself. And we know how that is. You get all caught up in kind of everything you're doing, and you can forget to, guys, I did this a few months ago. I didn't realize, I was getting really tired. I'm like, why? It's because I was working, and I didn't think anything. I'm like, it's totally fine. I'm having fun working on this at night. It was too much. So I can, it's like, yeah, you can do it, but don't do it every single night. Don't do it like every day and every into the night, because then you're just not getting adequate sleep and rest for your eyes and stuff like that. So you see how, now I might even change, I don't know if you can see the color. It doesn't seem to be coming out onto screen there. But and so the other thing a lot of people want to do when they learn sashiko stitching, And they think they're being very wise by doing this, though, because I used to do the same thing, is they make the thread way longer, you know, instead of an arm's length, like they're making it, you know, a couple of feet long. And then they're wasting more time because it nested, it knotted. It's taking you more time to pull all of that thread up and through. And it just is exhausting because now it's like your long arm, you know, you're like pulling the arm all the way up. And no, 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 no. You want to keep it so that like this. Okay, you want to keep it like this. So it's enjoyable, manageable. You're doing your sashiko stitching. You're actually able to hold the piece and you're not worried about pulling up, you know, a whole spool of, you know, not that you're going to do a spool. I'm just saying, as sarcastic as I can be. Okay, so I tighten that a little bit. I'm loving this. We're almost, I might even switch the thread again. I think I'm going to switch it again. Okay. I'm going to show you this in a moment. So you know, guys, I mess my coffee up like that because of put too many grounds in. I looked up because I had a cup of coffee I made once and the grounds were so much in there. I had a whole mouthful of grounds. I'm like, oh my gosh. Are the grounds give you more caffeine than the coffee? I looked it up and it says no. But I feel like I get that. So that's why I'm not finishing up that cup of coffee because it has grounds in it, and I don't like that. So I'll make a cup next time. It's because I was going to put too much in. Okay, so yeah, if you want to wake up in the morning, just pour the ground. Put too many grounds in there. Now I'm going to do a back stitch here. Gives the coffee more texture. That is for sure. It gives it texture, all right. So that's how my Tuesday cup of coffee ended. If any of you want to know. That's my Tuesday cup. So yes, I definitely have to work on that today. Okay, so I'm going to knot this one and not knotting it really tightly, guys, okay? Look at this. Look how it's coming along. Okay, now let's switch the thread. Now I don't want to use, I think I'm just going to go, now, I don't know, black is not really going to show, to be honest. Let me go in the back. Just eat a whole spoonful of grounds that will, oh, I'm not seeing the rest of it. Let's see, can I pull it up? That will wake you up. Yes. So I'm going to go in the back for 1 second. You can watch Umi and Mashuki for a minute. I'll be right back. I want to get a different color. Maybe orange is what I'm thinking. So hold on, guys. So, look, guys, there's orange and purple, and of course I have many others of these. But the purple would give it a little light, but the orange would show a little better. So we're going to go ahead with the orange. And again, like an arm's length of thread. Move some of these. Okay, yeah, so what we're going to do this afternoon is I'm going to go live on Whatnot. And I should have a few more little items on there. And I think I'm just going to pick some lower end, like $5 items and put on there. Okay? So if any, see if I can select some costume jewelry that is like $5. And I feel good about that. Okay. So I'm starting kind of where that first stitch is. You see it? And I'm just going to go over it for reinforcement and then continue with my sashiko stitching. Okay? Yeah. And I'm going to move the camera a little bit off of Umi and Mashuki because Umi and Mashuki are in their nest. And the reason they go in the nest during the day is they use each other as a model of parameter to build the nest. I never knew that until I actually saw it occurring. It took me quite some time to figure out why do they hop, one hops in, the other hops in, and then they both hop in. And it is because, and they continue to put the hay, because I give them hay and herbs, little things like that, to shape that nest. That is super intelligent. They are using themselves as a model because that is their bed. That's where they sleep at night. And people are like, well, they should sleep with sitting on a perch. Can I tell you something? Even though they can, these birds prefer their nest. Because they totally have that choice. And they choose the nest, guys. Okay? So, but they get enough exercise for sure. Totally get enough. Okay, now wait till you see this. This pops a little bit more. And then, then we have the option. I want to make sure I'm rounding this because this is almost like, yeah, I guess that's fine. It's almost, remember I told you could be going straight, by accident. This is kind of straight. So I'm going to kind of curve this a little bit more if I can on the third. Well, I'm going to do 3, 1, 2, and then curve that a little bit more. Okay. Okay, guys, you can see. Let's see. Yeah, I think I did it. I'll know in this next stitch if I'm succeeding at what I'm trying to do here. I just want to follow. Now, this is the only thing I draw caution to. You're following your circle of stitches, but if you've gone off a little bit, I guess this is okay. See, I'm looking at this. I just want to show you. To me, that looks a little straight, and what's throwing me off is this seam. So this one could have angled up a little bit better, and I could pull that out and do that. And I think I'm going to do that because I see it. Now, do I typically pull out? No, I do not. I just let it be. It's fine. That was actually, guess what? I just pulled out a back stitch. So I'm going to leave that space. Let me show you in a moment. I'm going to leave the space. Oh, sun's gone in. I can't see the, let me put that down. I'll use a larger needle for a moment. Sometimes I do these in a second and sometimes a few minutes. Okay. So see when I pulled it out, that was a back stitch. So I'm leaving it. I'm just going to leave it right now because I need to get my angle and my curve. I need to get my curve back. Okay? Yeah. Now the other thing you can do, if when you're going around and you think it's too angular, go around again. Go in between the rows. I've done that many times and have created more of a circular illusion or circular effect, you might say. So yeah, or I mean, it could come out egg-shaped. Just say. Different little things can happen on your path. On your path, around, going around. Now look, I just want to show you something here. Now, I'm getting closer to the center. This shape of the pocket totally threw me off. But I'm going to tell you something. Look, I've got enough of thread here to just continue. And that's what I'm going to do. So we're starting our second row of orange. That's what I wanted to show you. So, and you know, guys, some of you out there I happen to know love Halloween like all year. So, you know, when you add orange to something, so this is, see how I'm spacing it now? Because I want to make sure I'm getting my circle and not being dominated by the pocket. And then I can come back around and add even more circles. But the orange is such, orange you can use for all seasons. You really can. You can definitely use it in the winter for the, you know, what if you're painting the pine trees and the sky, for example, birds, you know, whatever. It's just orange, it pops in the scenery when you're creating scenery. So, and I'm trying to think of something I want to add to our little menagerie here on this channel is, whoops, I went off there a little bit. Okay, this one's, I'm just going to tie it here. Now I want to show you the back too in a second. So I want to be able to paint little minis, like I was thinking on flower pots. And then I was thinking, oh, I got to buy the flower pot. No, I don't. I can just start collecting the 10-cent flower pots in the stores and then paint little scenes on them. So this is the back thus far. Can you see it? So some people will draw whatever they're doing on the back and stitch completely from the back. I like to stitch from the front because I like to see what I'm doing more. So this is what the front's looking like, and we're almost done. So let's finish this together, guys. Let's finish it off in orange. I know I've been on here a while, but it is open studio, so it's kind of a special day. We're just bringing you with me and just sharing with you projects, because this hat, we're going to finish the crown and then go over the article, and then what I'm going to do after is start stitching my panels on today, because I would like to get this hat to a venue this week. Okay. And use up those seams. We've got to use them up. We could make a rug, but I don't know about a rug, to be honest. I don't know. walking on a rug with that much texture, you could trip and fall, and maybe it's a wall art piece is what it is. That's what we're going to be focusing on next. But we also have our Kawandi and Boro, but those are already in progress, not the Kawandi. We will do the Kawandi. Okay. You see how quickly now I'm moving along as I'm getting to the center of the circle. If you have questions on what I'm doing, now this is more, you see how that's on an angle? This stitch, that's more in line with the circle. That's what I want. Okay. So we will complete this shortly. Now, usually I don't complete things on here, like I start them and show them to you and say, go ahead. Is this an open studio? I'm working to complete this today. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is bring you with me on this. And once we get to the center, it just moves so quickly. I mean, you're going to see in a minute. And you can see the ripples. See the ripples become more and more? That's just gorgeous. That's a whole part of it. Now, you're probably saying, why didn't you just put the lining in there? But because what I'm going to do, so if we did something like that, then all the stitches would be showing, which is totally fine too. But the traditional people they're not understanding that in our society. So that's why I keep putting the lining in. And plus the lining, it is a little protective layer, guys. So that's totally fine. But you notice in a needle felted hat, many times there is no lining. At least on the older needle felted hats. They weren't even needle felted, wet felted, no lining. They just put the wool hat on. That's the same concept here. Now, do want to get these out more to, look how adorable that is, coming together. I want to get these out more. I'd like to get these in a New York store and or in a California store, because I think California would totally relate. California. I've had people from California buy my things, so maybe I should just get these on Whatnot, huh guys? The thing is, I have to be able to make, each one is different, I have to be able to make them up. Now I'm continuing my circle here. Which you see, now we're closing in. We'll have to rethread in a moment. And you kind of want to kind of keep looking like, move your hand away from the stitching so you can see the circle that you're going in. And we're almost done already. Not already, I know we've been on here a little while. But this is something I do. I do look up the different type of health tips to remind myself on how to stay healthy. So something I've been eating lately, just to kind of bring you into my health world a little bit before we get into the article, is feta. And, you know, I'll get sick of feta. I'll get fed up with feta. And then I'll go back to it. So I love feta, especially with pasta, and a hot pepper, which brings blood pressure down. Not salt, no salt. The feta and the hot pepper and sliced little tomatoes in a pasta. Whatever the pasta is, spaghetti, rigatoni, shells, a little pasta. And tuna, not tuna out of the can, but like from a tuna steak. Only a couple of dollars, guys. And you cook them in a nice oil with hot pepper, and they're very, 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 very good and good for you. Okay, so went off here. I'm going to show you in a moment, but it's okay. This is part of sashiko stitching. It's just the humbleness of it. As much as I tried to focus on keeping my stitches straight, we had a stitch kind of go off to the side there. This is a sashiko needle. This is very sharp. I thought so because I could feel it slightly touch my hand. I've got them mixed in here, but that's why I'm having a little bit problem. Oh, to get this. What you saying, Ome Mashoke? There. What you saying? That's Umi talking right now, the female. See how she's watching me? She will sit and go like that and watch me work. And they really want the string, but you can't give them this, guys. You gotta buy just the pure cotton, because you never know. You're getting something, you don't know if there's something in this or a coating or something. You don't want to give these to your birds. These guys want, because they want to build a nest with it. But I did buy them some cotton string, and they weren't interested in it. So the stitching was off just a tiny bit, and it's again because of the pocket. So I'm not crazy. That's why I don't like the pocket. You see the little stitch off there, but it's not so noticeable. You'll see in a moment. We're almost done with the circle. What you saying, Ome? Hmm? Oh, that's Mashuki. Okay. That's Mashuki. Mashuki is a chocolate beige color, and Umi is very like a silver. She's from the silver bill line of Asian finches. So you don't find the finches around a lot. Are they expensive? No. They were $35 each, and you can get a parakeet for $55. They're just gorgeous, though. These little birds are just companionship all around. Okay, so look how close we are to getting done. So I'm going to show you in the middle what I do. Okay, once we get to the middle, okay, I go right in the center and I leave it off. So I go right in the center. I'm going to show you, see? Come right through the center and then tie it off. Now I'm going to just kind of thread through a few of these. Okay? Like a little weave, just like a little weave. Just weave it around, go into different underneath little different stitches, and then tie it. Okay, we are done with the crown. So now I'm going to be honest, I'm probably going to come back through and do, I might do a little bit more stitching around, just a couple of more rounds is what you would call it. So I'm going to put this crown up here. For the moment, I just want to show you, for those of you who were coming in saying, hey, what you doing? This is the crown. So I'm just going to put one or two up here because I'm not done with these either. I want to do a little more stitching. Not much more, just a little. I may put them in the machine. I don't know. Look at this. I mean, come on, guys. Is that just not gorgeous? Now, I'm going to come in and put a couple more stitches here, a couple more here, here, like that. But anyway, okay, that's where we're going on the hat. So we're going to put that over to the side. And then we're going to get our article. Okay, we're going to get our article right now. And we're going to go through that. Okay? Very interesting. I hope it's still there. Probably gotta get back into the computer. Hi, Mashuki. And you know what else the birds do? I know I keep jumping to the bird. They do like a little magic trick. They will actually exchange places in the exact same spot. I know the difference between them, but people looking at them may not. Okay, let's see if we can find our article right here. Oops, I guess we lost it. It's okay. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, I want to read to you. Yeah, these are some different articles. I know what to do. I am going to read some of this too, but let me just, okay. I am calling this creative wellness, and that is what I'm typing in, okay, for my research. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Today is really a different type of video because it is open studio. I'm just bringing you with me and some of the things I do and how I keep learning. And it's mostly, you know, curiosity. I want to know what's out there just by asking questions and then being able to do my research and get answers. So I'm going to begin with AI. So creative wellness, just general explanation here, definition. It uses artistic and imaginative activities as a proactive tool to process emotions, reduce stress, boost overall cognitive and mental health. It prioritizes the creative process rather than perfection. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's probably why I'm so far away from perfection. I have no tolerance for it. No. This is the thing. When you get into perfection, guys, you're talking about a different world. You're talking about technical aspects, patterns. It's a whole different thing than the regular, like just creative in general, where you're not using any of that, okay? Now, creative wellness also helps release dopamine, which is a hormone that increases motivation and it increases happiness. It allows you to feel relaxed so you can enjoy things around you. Now, I find this interesting. They have an AI here. Local assembly activities to try out, and it gives nearby. One is the Studio Place Arts. They say it's in Barrie, Vermont. I think there's one up here too. They have painting and pottery. Writing and journaling is another. No, this is the one in up this way is Vermont Studio Center. That's in Johnson, Vermont. So they have writing and journaling and workshops. Music and movement. They have a Catamount Arts in St. Johnsbury, Vermont. Okay, that's just an AI overview. Tips for creative wellness. That's Ohio Studio University. I think we've looked at that before. This one is again Ohio State University, the healing power of creativity. Let's just take a quick look at that one. And it says, have you ever noticed how time seems to disappear when you're deeply engaged in something? Like painting and writing and cooking, brainstorming. Maybe you love to do puzzles. Puzzles help stimulate creativity also, guys. That's because creativity often places us in a state of flow. So we're not living according to the clock, basically. A mental zone where focus and enjoyment merge and everything fades around in the background. That's your creative zone. And that is constantly what happens to me. That's why, like, I was just looking up here, we're on here a couple of hours, and I said, well, we're in the open studio, I'm working on things, I'm just bringing you with me. That's why. I'm in my creative zone, and I'm bringing you with me. Now, if I'm not talking to you, I'm in it even more, and the time goes by quicker. What is flow? The concept of flow was introduced by psychologist Mihaly. Oh, wow, this is quite a long name, guys. Csikszentmihalyi, who described it as an optimal state of consciousness, a sweet spot where, fully absorbed in activity, you lose track of time and external distractions. In this flow state, we're anchored in the present moment, which naturally calms the mind and reduces stress. This is mindfulness in action. There is a science behind creativity, which makes me cringe a little, because no matter how much, and I know I studied psychology at many levels, guys, no matter how much they study creativity, they're not going to be able to replicate it. And that's something they're always looking for in their study tests. Just saying. There is a science, they say, behind creativity. Engaging in creative activities isn't just enjoyable. And here they're getting into the science, saying it's measurable. They can measure our brain and our body, and I wager to differ on that, because it's a holistic vibe. It's not just, they can go ahead and measure our brain waves, yes, but that's not what it's all about, because they're going to say right here, dopamine. Okay, research shows that creativity can lower cortisol, stress hormone, helping us feel more relaxed. At the same time, it boosts dopamine, often called the happy chemical, which enhances mood, motivation, and our overall well-being. So they have found some happy things about creativity, but I draw caution to you. It is a very complex um, energy. Let me put it that way. And I'm happy that they're able to measure to a point. And I say to a point because there's no way to measure your happiness on it, or even where you got that inspiration or that energy. So, but it's a good thing. But I draw caution because some of the poets out there, like for example, when I do poetry, I am totally in the zone of writing, but it is extremely exhausting. And if I do too much of it, I start to feel unhappy. So you need to be very careful. I have not found that with my art because I'm always switching out the creativity projects, but you do need to make sure you pull back and rest on any project you're doing if you're feeling tired or you don't feel that creativity anymore. But creativity, it does so much, guys. It offers stress relief. And here are some powerful ways that you can support your emotional wellness. What am I reading out of? The Ohio State University Health Plan.com. It's a coffee ground. Anyway, so creativity, it improves problem solving. It provides purpose and meaning, which is so important to you guys for your health. It enhances emotional processing. You don't need to be an artist to enjoy the benefits of creativity. So this is super important. Try a new hobby. Keep a journal. Take mini breaks. This is what I typically do, is take breaks from things that I'm working on. And this says, for example, like if you're doodling or you're working in an adult coloring book. So now, guys, they have made doodling an official art. I just want to let you know. And there is a lot of energy put into doodling. Yes, does it help you relax? Absolutely. But it is still an energy force there. Move creatively, like dancing and walking. Okay? So there's that. Now, I'm curious as to what inhibits your creativity. So I have a couple of short articles on that also, guys. Inhibited creative wellness. It occurs when stress, trauma, or overworking triggers the brain freeze, shutting down divergent thinking. Now, have you ever come across a person who, let's just say they're unkind or they have a very negative energy field, and you kind of do this? That is a freeze response. When you go, they make you kind of like that, and like you feel it in your gut. That is a freeze. So when you get in the freeze response, you get in that, don't just stay there. Work to get out of it because you don't deserve to be there. Why am I saying this? Because, guys, someone said to me recently, there's more negative people in the world than positive. Never thought of it that way before. I always thought the opposite, that there's more goodness than negative. Guys, I think we're in a time and space where there is more negative than goodness, but there is goodness. You have to remember that. There's a goodness. So you got to tap into that and work on that if somebody puts you in a freeze, okay? This creates, anyway, the freeze creates a barrier where making your inner world visible feels dangerous, leaving emotions bottled up. It is a nervous system adaptation to threat, not a personal flaw. So the barriers unlocking creativity, wellness often stem from physiological and psychological constraints. Understanding how these manifest can help you regain your flow. So, there's totally times in my life, and all of us, where we've had some really very serious things happen in our life. It could be short term, it could be long term. And it will inhibit you to sit down and create. And you hear the artist say, I haven't been able to create these past couple weeks because there's been life things or family things or work things, whatever it is, because it truly does inhibit the energy flow. Now, for other people, they can take some of that negative energy and they can put that down and express through that. So that is another way to work through some of those difficult times. Now this says, it just describes a little bit more, the autonomic dysregulation. It is a chronic stress. Hormones can literally limit the brain regions responsible for generating novel ideas. This is why you will get creative people pull away from other people. They will literally have to for their own mental health, because for them, that is their balance. That's where they need to be. And if someone is getting in the way of that by with their behavior of coldness, rudeness, whatever you want to call it, negative space, you got to get away from them, because you're an artist. You know what I mean? So this explains that. Do you understand that? That the chronic stress hormones literally limit the brain regions, your brain, that you as an artist use and fully have adapted and is part of who you are, your personality. I had somebody not too long ago actually attack my character and personality. Guys, it was numbing. It was, and I'm laughing about it because I'm thinking, wow, am I glad I'm not that kind of person? I experienced it. I am also 67 years old, guys, so I'm very, very experienced. I'm pulling up and out of that kind of, what do you want to call it? What would some of you call it? Like a demonic attack, a negative attack. I can pull up and out of it. But like the movie says, fool me once, don't fool me twice. In other words, don't put yourself in space and time with someone who would bring you down. Oh, like that. No, 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 no. Okay? So with that, now, perfectionism and productivity guilt. Viewing creativity solely as a means to a finish, aesthetic, or a profitable product, and I'm going to speak on this in a moment. Treating it as a chore disconnects you from the pure self-care and emotional regulation aspects of play. And I was talking to one of my dear sweet neighbors the other day on play. I love to go out and just play on words and just talk and have, fun talk with my neighbors. If it gets too serious, I back away, I come in. Some of them do too. So this is what I want to say. Productivity. Guess what? We're making a hat. Okay, the only way I was able to get to the creative process of this hat, I cannot do this like a cookie cutter, guys. And I say this, and there's a few artisan store owners out there who totally get me. They get why I'm going in one piece at a time. I cannot, and I've tried to visit the realm of productivity on different levels, whether it's like taking a photograph and this and that. And I don't know. I mean, I would like to get some maybe postcards out there. That's as far as I can go on that, because the creativity itself is so important to me, the process. So if I get feeling like too pressured, I can't create. And there's a specific place right now where I'm having a hard time creating for, because somehow I keep feeling this pressure. And it's not any of the venues I am with. So what you do is you have to reassess, and you have to, like, wait a minute, I want to be part of a community that is nurturing and respectful of my creativity. You want to be part of that community where you can talk with other creatives and you feel good just being yourself. And that's super important. So, but the productivity, there's certain things I've tried to do, like 5 and 6, and that's why when art and craft fairs come up, I'll limit myself to about a half a dozen of whatever it is each, or maybe even a couple things, because once it gets into the high numbers, I don't know how these other people do it, but it does inhibit my creativity. Okay, so with that, and I go more for the art exhibits and the art stores, looking for just a few things. That's more my cup of tea, because then I can be creative. Okay. Rigid routines. Okay, rigid makes me step back about 10 plays. I cannot deal with it. Overscheduling and failing to give the brain passive default mood time, such as taking a walk, listening to music, because this other stuff, it will stifle the lateral thinking required to generate new perspectives. Rigid routines make me cringe. Now, that's why I put together my book, this book here, The Artist's Notebook, because this is, for me, it's an easy go-to. I can make a couple of notes. I don't have to worry that I'm looking up the contract, I'm looking up the notes. What did I do with all of my notes? They're just like right here. I know what I have where, and I know and I'm also using it for my art exhibits now. So this is my artist's notebook to track different venues. This takes the stress off of me because I can just go to it. And I can use this to reassess also. Okay, so with that, so this is what it says, yeah, rigid routines. Steps to regain your creative flow. And then I have one more short article I want to share with you. Lower the stakes. Forget talent and focus on a micro creative act, like little things like this maybe. I have to do that. That is actually what I have been doing in my own process, and I didn't even know it. Write one messy sentence, doodle, or dance for a minute. The goal is emotional regulation, not a finished product. Does it mean that you have an illness, a disability? No. Guys, everybody has emotion. And if you keep coming up against a brick wall, or you're with someone or something or in a situation that is constant stress on you, it is going to break you in time. And then you have to heal. I know it sounds dramatic, but that is, in my line of work through my whole life and in my own life, yes. Stress will cause illness, physical illness. It will cause an imbalance in you, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical. Guys, you gotta step away from it and get your perspective, and then figure out, how do I make things better? To be in your creative realm. Okay. Give yourself unmonitored time to mess around with things like clay, paints, journaling, even cooking. Cooking is totally a creative thing. Focus entirely on the process of doing rather than, oh, it's done. Like the product has to be done. Because that's a business. Now you're talking about a business. You're not talking about you as a creative artist. So what is it you want to do? Do you want a business, or you want the creative? That's why with the reselling the jewelry, I'm having a really hard time with the fact that, you just buy a bag of jewelry and then just sell it as, $1 each. I mean, I'm enjoying the process of picking out the vintage jewelry. Okay. Rest and default mode network. Let your brain wander. Step away from screens. Take a walk. Take a break in nature, which we've done over at the park, guys. Which research shows helps the brain to sort new ideas. And I truly do think music is why I get so many ideas, because I listen to it all day long. I put it on in a very low vibe for the birds, and they like to sing it, and it helps, and they can see pictures of the birds. But then I'll put on like my own songs, which they love even more. They love, love, love Adele, guys. Just telling you. Okay. Seek supportive environments. If you prefer guided environments or community connection, you can explore places like Expressive Arts Burlington, located short drive away in Vermont, for private groups and expressive workshops. I may check that out. Let's write that down, and then I'll tell you what I found. Let me write it down, guys. So something, yeah, it's called Expressive Arts Burlington. Sometimes you get with a community that you think is an art community, and just no one's talking, no one's connecting, no one's bringing you in on the loop. They're keeping you out in the dark, like they're not embracing you. And yeah, you don't want to be part of that, because there's plenty that will embrace you. They will embrace you, guys. They will. They will. Okay, now let's go to the next here. Okay, there was an article here. Psychology Today, I don't know about that one. Okay, these two. Creative wellness, your health matters more than productivity. Okay, guys? Your health. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going to skip down. I'm just going to tell you where it is. It's at createmefree.substack.com. And I just want to go down here. What does creative wellness look like? What does it actually look like? I just want to read the sentence here. We're going to read this, and then we're going to read the signs that you're inhibited. Okay. Creative wellness is about building a creative practice that honors your whole human experience, including messy, difficult, and imperfect parts. So you're able to handle those. You're able to mindfully manage the negatives and the positives, the yin and the yang. We're not saying everything has to be positive, because it's not. But what I am saying, if it's too negative and it stifles you, then pay attention and remove yourself from that. Now, but yes, life is negative and positive. So, energy awareness. Recognizing your natural rhythms and working with them, not against them. So whatever your natural rhythm is, that's why I talk to you a lot of times that I may not be able to put a specific time that I'm coming on here live. I have to go with my biorhythm. And am I feeling that energy? Am I feeling good? Can I do this? Emotional intelligence. Using feelings as creative material rather than obstacles to overcome. If you sit and focus on just like an emotion or just a thought, and you fall into an obsession, or you fall into being stuck, or you fall into, like, you forget about that thought, but that thought has now pivoted into a real negative spiral for you. Yeah. So emotional, so using your feelings, so use those feelings to create. Maybe write a poem, maybe write, or draw, or paint, or do your sculpturing, or whatever it is that you do. A boundary, respect, knowing when to push and knowing when to rest. So, are you hungry? You know what I mean? Are you exhausted? Is there, do you feel okay? I mean, pay attention to how you are feeling. Because this is what I was doing a couple of months ago, and I actually got feeling very sick. I was just kind of like working. And I had come through the winter working a lot. I was putting a lot, like I wasn't like always on here saying, putting all this energy into prepping for a class, but I was making sure I had the materials. I wanted to make sure I was very clear with my class, so I would review what I'm going to say, what problems might come up, this and that, being very mindful, and then trying to do all my other stuff. So I was totally feeling very tired. So there will be changes in this next year on how I approach. So valuing the journey of creation and not just the destination. In other words, enjoy the process. And create in ways that fuel rather than deplete you. For me, trying to read a pattern for 3-4 hours out of the time, whether it's a crochet, this and that, depletes me totally. It upsets me, it stresses me, it takes away time I feel from what I want to be doing. So I just start crocheting whatever it is I want. If I want to learn a certain stitch, I can learn it very quickly. That's a different story. That's okay. But if it's this intricate, or whether it's quilting, even an intricate pattern, okay. Too much for me. Doesn't mean I don't have the ability. I totally do. Don't want to do it. Okay. The stress behind creative wellness. Research consistently shows that our mental and physical states directly impact creative capacity. So your stress hormones literally inhibit the brain regions responsible for creative thinking. We just read that on AI. Chronic exhaustion, if you're always tired, and I went through that too when I was working with 3 children and working 2 jobs, like, through the week, and then a part-time, and trying to always do something extra. I was literally exhausted every single day. So it totally reduces your ability to make novel connections. And emotionally, it blocks access to the full range of human experience that feeds our art, or feeds our creativity, or inspires us. And sleep deprivation, it impairs the default mode network that generates creativity. So that, yeah, again, that's Create Me Free. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And that's it. So that's pretty much it for my open studio today with you. Just kind of skip through it. Of course, we're at the end now. But, and I'll be working on my art this afternoon. And in several hours, I'll be going on to Whatnot and live for just a very short period. It's nothing like what we do over here. However, I'm getting more and more listed, so then it could turn into a little bit longer, but I will just choose different things to show. Okay? And hopefully, and we'll keep I have kept it, buy it now. I'm not doing the auctions right now. Buy it now. Or you can ask if you want to buy it at a different price. I am approachable on that. And it's either a yes or no right now. I thank you so much for being with me today. I send you love and light, and I hope you had fun today as I did. There's little Mashuki right now looking at you saying goodbye. Have a beautiful day, guys. Yeah, what you saying, Angel Pies?